Hey guys, last time we were doing a timer app. This is going to be the continuation of the timer app last time. Last time we did a Figma modeling of how it should look like. And if you missed the episode, it's right here. I don't know where it's going to be in the YouTube window, but let's point this way than that way. I will hit it. Anyway, we're gonna continue on making the front end code to match with the design, and it's going to be a reactive design. Not reactive. Why am I saying reactive? It's a responsive design, and we'll see if we can use a library called Bootstrap just to make it responsive without a lot of other CSS and stuff like that. So let's dive right into it. Okay. Okay. So what you're seeing is my desktop, Visual Studio Code, and I have a very simple project. If you don't know how to do this scaffolding of the simple project, visit many tutorial online, or even I have a tutorial about how to create a simple project. And so basically you have a CSS file for the app and your JavaScript file and your index CSS and your index.js that bring the whole app alive. So what we're going to focus on is our Figma design. Let's see, Figma design. Everybody love this tool. So last time it was your Figma design looks like this, right? Load this up, and basically we model it up in Figma, and we have a I just realized this is not perfectly aligned, but whatever. Okay, so just kidding. And we have drawn up this design. You have this nicely blurred, glassy looking clock, and your bubble in the back to show that this is glassy looking. If it's not glassy looking enough, you can go into here and add some effect. What we add is background blur, and this is something that I didn't cover last time when we mod this up. You can crank this baby up or crank this baby down so that it's clear. Depending on how glassy, how smoky you want it to be, kind of like in a shower, how steamy you want it to be. How steamy you want the glass to be. And once you get that, and you select this whole clock face, it has a bunch of components added together, and then you do export to a PNG or whatever you want to do. I already exported, so I'm not going to do it again. And now we're going to model this in this tutorial. We're going to model this in React codes to see if it can be responsive at all. Now, long story short, I keep rambling. Here's the code. So first, we're going to install our toolkit first. Let's create our terminal. So we'll be installing our Bootstrap code. Let me shrink this a little bit so that you can easily see. Bootstrap code, if you use npm, we'll do this. If you use yarn, you can go into basic timer. I mean your project, in this case, in a basic timer, you have to install your project in this directory, your project directory, and then you just go, hey man, like that. And then now it's installed. To use this Bootstrap library, all you need to do is bring in this CSS code, include code, and slam it into your app.js, and that's all you need. And now, so why do we want this whole hassle about installing Bootstrap? Bootstrap is a very fancy component or library that you can use to do like this kind of button so that your design is consistent, and even accordion, like this kind of carousel, this kind of thing that you see on every website over and over again. And Jumbotron, even navbar, you can do stuff like this kind of stuff. Very cool. But with all these candy in the candy store, we're not going to eat any of them. We're going to just use one of the major thing called grid. Grid is a easy way to position your element, your web page elements in a specific location. So for example, you want to carve up your web page into this kind of layout. If you have a bunch of content up here, and then you have different columns here, you can do that. And you can also do responsive grid, so that when you shrink and when you do stuff like that, it will adjust automatically. So we're going to use this. I know it's very easy to do it in CSS, but just to introduce this powerful library, I decided to just pick a small, powerful feature and introduce it in this tutorial because it's a beginner tutorial. All right, so are we set for launch? Let's do this. Now we have installed Bootstrap. We have bring in the CSS library, and let's see how we can do. Let's do this. How we can make use of it now. In order to do the first thing, we're going to do container. Let's do this. Container fluid. So what you just saw me is magic, right? For some of us, we don't use VS Code too much. We have something called Emmet, right? And if I type this kind of stuff, div blah blah blah, for too long, it's not going to be easy on your fingers. So, but if I do earlier, I do this. I want to build a div, right? I just hit dot, Emmet abbreviation. I don't know if this is Emmet, whatever. Is you just hit dot and then type in the class name that you want to include, and then use another dot to delimit what is in the list of class names. In this case, it is like the dot is the space. Once you hit tab, you will get this. Some of us know, some of us go home and don't see this. How come I keep hitting dot? I keep hitting dot, it doesn't expand, right? Hit dot, container, and hit tab, it should expand, right? Hit tab now. It should expand, but it does not. It's because I'm getting off track, but this is how I am. I like to get off track a lot. So, preference, settings, and then in here, you do and then here you just add item. It even tell you what to add. JavaScript React. You just go here. Let's say I did not do that. I just do it here. JavaScript React. Right. Once you add that, you're all good to go, brother. You can do this now, right? Right away. So anyway, I distracted. We're gonna get a container. Look, and then bam, you have that. Now, when we build a container, what does it contain? It contains a whole web page. You're going to use this container to contain the web page, and then we're going to use a row. What does it mean, a row? So we will be having a container to contain the whole web page, and the row, one row is just one row extending from beginning of the web page to the end of this edge, right? So we'll add a row, and this row is a bootstrap. A bootstrap row, okay? And in fact, what did I do? I don't even have to do this. I can just use this container. I just realized how silly I was. Okay, anyway, we do a row, and then this row will be our clock face row. Right? And then down here, we're going to have a big row that contain our column, our buttons. I'll get to that in a little bit. Okay. And that's our structure. Now, how do I do the clock face? Let's just insert our clock face in here. So in order to force import that clock face, we have to actually import it. Let's say clock from clock actually clock face.png, like that, right? And then we're going to do the clock. Why am I doing this curly bracket with curly braces? Is because we're switching back to our JavaScript code. Right now here, all these are HTML. To tell React that we're switching back, just to make everything easy to understand. Now, we are using inline CSS style. What is style? There's a whole new story, whole big story. But basically, we are inserting an image, and we want to tell the web browser how to render this image. Is it going to be 100% width, 70% width? How do we want to do it? So I'm going to say width is maybe 100%. This might not need it, but height is going to be auto, right? And then our height is going to be auto, and let's put the margin. So what this margin does is going to center our image into center. So 0 is like there's no margin top and bottom of the image, and the left and right we're going to make auto, so that auto just means base center. This is a very typical CSS trace. And also the height, we don't determine the height. We are going to make it as big as what this row allows us to do. And that's it. Okay, we're gonna do this. And for now, let's see what happens. Okay, of course, there are the div always don't line up like that, right? Here. And let's see what happened to there. There you have your thing, right? Now let's see. Right? So it's even responsive to shrink, right? So let's see. I can make it 70%. Maybe you look a little bit better. Okay. Now, what's the next thing to do? The next thing to do is going to be add our buttons in there. Add our button. We're going to add it in a new row, which means it will be down here, right? And in order to make a new row, we're going to make some column. What does it mean, column? In Bootstrap, we carve up a screen into 12 different columns. So we can, a part of the screen will be here, column 1, column 2, column 3. So what we are doing here is, hey, let's shove something in the column 1. And then technically we will have all this 12 times to fill up 12 columns. Now, but we can also make it such that it will span how many columns. So in this case, what I did here is I'm telling React, this is part of responsive design. This thing is called breakpoint. So that means small. When it's in a small screen, I want this column, whatever I'm going to put in here, hello, well, right? Whatever I'm going to put here to occupy 12 columns. What did I just say? 12 columns means the whole screen, right? So when the screen is small, like this, this whole screen will be occupied by only one column, which is what I just have here, hello world. Okay. So let's add that in. You see? Hello world, right? Now, if I make it big, do you see shift to here? The reason it shifted to here because now the screen is big, and I told React when it's big, only occupy 2 columns, which is the first 2 column on the left hand side, and that's how it is. Now, if I do this, just for illustration purpose, this is a very quick crash course of what it means to have breakpoint. Okay. Do you see? Now, if I do this, I keep shrinking. Do you see going down? The reason is when I shrink it small enough, we're in the small range now. We are going to stack because when it's small, we say occupy 12 columns with this, right? So now, since it's occupied 12 columns, what happened to this? It's going to be stacked below, right? So when we make the screen bigger to a big dimension, now the browser say, okay, now it's in big screen now. What do you want me to do? Oh, you want me to put the first set of things into the first two columns, the second set of things into the second set of two columns? Oh, okay, I can do that. Now, that just means if I had this setting, I would have most 6 set of this. Because at large screen, we're going to totally occupy 12 columns to achieve what we wanted it to look like, right? We wanted to have 6 buttons. So let's do the math. It's pretty easy. So only 2 columns per button, right? Making sense so far? Now, let's figure out what we need to do to get this button, literally get this button. So we'll highlight the button and we'll go to inspect. And copy this CSS. This CSS handle a bunch of the shadow and the position and everything. Just copy this guy and then we'll adjust it. And now, since I already copied that earlier, when I prepare for this tutorial, I have, let's do that again. Maybe it will be easier since I already copied, right? So that we know what to take out. We're going to take out the position. We no longer need that. And then this position, we no longer need that. All this, we don't need that. So we'll net out the size of the button here, margin and all this goodie, the shadow, everything, and also the font. So that's how we'll have it. And if you follow that, you will have this. Okay. And the font size is going to be 3VH, view height, and 45 and all that stuff. Now, let's try to see what it actually looks like. Let's try to see what it actually looks like when it's in React. We have this very long style button here, and we will be going here. And add our button here. Hammer button and hit tab. Ooh, what happened there? see what I'm doing here? I use the Emmet expansion. Timer buttons. Ooh, buttons. Like that. And then you just say 1 min. And then that should be it. And then copy this guy here. And then here. And here. We're going to do a mass copy so that it's nice. I know this tutorial is going to be a little bit longer because, but I want to show you guys step by step how to do it, assuming you don't know a lot about web development. And it's better to be a little bit detailed. If you know what I'm doing now, there will be more advanced video coming up. So now it's all ugly. How do I make it look nice? We need to indent it. So for us to automatically indent, we go this and then format document. Look at the magic. We don't need to even hit one key to align anything. Now, just save all the document, and then there you have it. This thing looks perfect. Okay? Now, when we shrink it to small, the button will expand. Is because, hey, now used all 12 columns to fill up the button instead of only use 2 columns. Okay. Now this is our responsive design. Now what is missing so far? We have talked about how to make the picture fill up the screen, and we have also how to make the thing blurry, then with glassy look. But what we're missing is this guy, the timer display, right? The clock itself. Hey, don't serve the turkey without the sauce, and don't serve the turkey without the plate. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it sounds good. Okay, now let's add our display here. So what we would choose to do is we choose to do a container here. Inside the first one, we will use another container, and we'll make this a separate component. Let's define this component first. Okay, so we'll have new file called time display. This is not the most fabulous. Let's copy some code. This is not the most fabulous name, but we're going to hardcore right there. Half a job interview. Import what you call that? React from React. We build our time display thing, and then we'll go export default time display, and then that's it, right? And then we're going to go return return something like that, right? So what we're going to return, we're going to make sure this class has class name equals clock text. What is clock text? Here we have this, and this comes from our lovely CSS here. We're going to worry about this, the font family, style, and all that stuff. And the size itself, we don't have that kind of information. Okay, we have the position information we don't have because we're going to position ourselves. Okay, so you will net out with this font size AVH 90% and justify content. So we make it font size to be a little bit bigger, AVH. View height, that means a view height. Think of it as a percentage of your view height, a percentage. So now we are applying this. Where is the time display? We are applying this clock text, and then literally we can make it anything, right? And then here, make sure we import our here time display here. Okay. Now, and then we are in this set. Let's see, drum roll, drum roll. There. You see, we have this nice little clock, and it's responsive. Right? Now you go, oh, this is ugly. Yeah, it's ugly. Yes, we're not done. Like this, right? So because of our graphic design, we were a little bit off center. That's what gives you the illusion of this is not center, but it is in this center. If you look at here, you see there is some border here, and this side is not even. It is what it is. We're not going to go back to muck around with the graphics. So there you have it. We have modeled the Figma design into our code and have a responsive behavior at this point. Now, in the next video, we will insert our functionality in here. This clock will be ticking. This button will be activated, and also this will be having alarm functionality that turn color just like in the video. I hope you guys like it. If you found this useful for beginner purpose, please give me more comment on how I can improve on this, and stay tuned for the next episode, and be sure you subscribe if you like it. See you next time.